My name is Natasha Wernick, and welcome to the fourth in this webinar series, Building Orbost and District Together, Place-Based Leadership and Governance for the Governance Workshop Series, From Principles to Action. Thank you for taking the time to come and join and contribute to this important series of events and webinars and workshops. We would like to acknowledge the Gunakurnai, the Monero and the Bidawal people as the traditional owners of the land in which Orbost is located, and pay our respect to the elders past and present. My name is Natasha Wernick and I'm the Community Development Programs Facilitator for Australian Business Volunteers, coming to you from up Bundjalung Country, up in northern New South Wales. We would also like to acknowledge you for participating to help shape the future of Orbost District. So please take this moment to introduce yourself in the chat box, including both where you're from and your group and organisation and the country that you're from. This series has been developed in collaboration between the Future of Orbost District group, particularly Dr. Nicola Watts, Tabitha Jarman, and Hayley Sesktotis, and myself and my team from Australian Business Volunteers. I do, however, want to acknowledge all the work that has been done over the last few years on this as Orbost has been transitioning out of forestry. So, the focus question: what kind of governance and leadership will best support Orbost District's prosperity and resilience into the future? Now, this has been the guiding question across all the workshops and all the webinars, and will continue guiding us until we have finished our work here. This session is to keep up the momentum, to share progress and get ready for October. So the purpose of this webinar is to summarise what happened in August, to let you know what's progressed since then, to reconnect with you all, to preview what's going to happen in October. So by the end, you'll have a shared understanding of what happened in August and what's going to happen in October. And this webinar is going to be an interactive webinar, which means that I'm going to be asking you to participate. I'm going to be asking you some questions, and you'll be putting some notes into the chat. And also, if you raise your hand, I'll see that, and then I'll show you, and you can have your video and your audio back. So to start with, let's just do a quick check-in. Please add to the chat one word that shares how you feel about Orbost's future right now. So how does it feel? Does it feel bright? Does it feel a bit scary? Does it feel a bit hard? You know, give me some names, give me some words. Bright, great, hopeful, apprehensive, that's good, that's nice and honest. Optimistic, yes, I'm very optimistic too, and it's lovely to have you here, Liz and Dave and Kay and Neil and Robin. It's great to have you here. Thank you. So those of you who attended will remember, firstly, we mapped out the decision makers for the Orbost community and what decisions they had made that impacted community. We then identified the major current challenges for the Orbost community. We grouped these challenges and we voted on the most pressing, and then we chose the top 3. We then did a deep dive into these challenges. We created a how might we statement. We did 5 whys exercise and discovered the root cause. Excuse me. So the top 3 challenges that we identified were volunteer fatigue, fragmented governance, and lack of unified voice. So I'm going to review these challenges and the work we did. And as I do, I invite you to reflect on which one resonated most strongly for you And if you've got something more to contribute to this particular part of the webinar. And so after I do this challenges recap, I'll open it up again to see if there's any comments. So the first one was volunteer fatigue, and this is very common throughout Australia, actually. So the question was, how might we attract, retain and energise the volunteers? So our volunteers are feeling siloed, they are spread thin, there is poor communication, there are too many poor communication between groups and the broader community. There are too many groups operating in isolation. There's a shrinking population, less time, energy and constraints. We're still using the old models and many feel that these are outdated, that they're cumbersome, they're unattractive and they're following the old recipe. Rigid power structures are limiting inclusion. And the resistance to change is coming up against the tension of evolving social values. Compliance is limiting creativity. These are really great words that have come from you. The root cause was the fear of change and resistance to adaptation, comfort of tradition versus readiness to innovate and evolve. And who's affected by this? Well, everybody is affected by this. Some ideas that emerged, we need to have the courage to experiment. We need to prioritise mission and experience over process. We need to, community groups are critical to social fabric and cohesion. And the idea came up that we'll enlist a muscle team. You may remember this came from the Botterham case study, where they have a register of people who want to be on the muscle team that can't volunteer all the time, but that may be available to do some muscle work like setting up tables or porta shades or lifting chairs. It's a great idea. The second challenge was the fragmented governance. How might we create a governance group or structure up to the challenge of supporting efficiency? The current governance is not cohesive enough to support Orbost District resilience. The root cause, well, this is a very complex issue for one singular root cause, as you know, and that's probably one of the reasons why we're doing this whole workshop series. Groups are fragmented. There are differences in class, cultures, socioeconomics, and it takes time to create change. Why? Well, there's no cohesive, the community culture is fragmented. There's no unifying purpose. New community members are not welcomed. Top-down, centralised decision-making, so is the cultural mindset. So there's a lack of trust from government to community. And there's a risk-averse government which holds the assets. There's established groups' resistance to change. So there's a lack of people stepping into the space. There's no succession planning. There's a lack of confidence in ability and a limited pool of volunteers. So you can see how that last challenge about the volunteers really links into this one as well, and then into the next one, the lack of unified voice. So how might we come together to represent our diverse voices to decision-making agencies that are impacting our community? So why? Why? Because not all the community voices are heard. There is poor communication and engagement. Often the same people are approached. Others feel unwelcome or excluded. Some are asked, some are not, and some don't even know they can input. There is a lack of involvement from some community groups. The community is still in transition, and it's really good to keep understanding that it's still in transition, because that invites change and possibility. Membership focuses and structures are still largely unchanged, and there is still a top-down government influence. There is a resistance to change. historical legacy of old industries and entrenched ideas, and agencies with limited ability or will to embrace innovation. The root cause is because there's no structured organisation to represent collective voices. There is weak communication across community groups, and it's difficult to lobby effectively for diverse views. Who's effective? Well, it's the community groups and the motivated individuals who are affected. And an idea that emerged is, let's do community connection differently. Let's do it differently. So here we go. What are you thinking now? What challenge resonates most strongly with you? And do you have anything to contribute to the discussion about these challenges? So if you do, put something in the chat box or raise your hand, and we'll see, we'll turn the camera on and let you speak. I think it's really interesting how those three challenges end up intersecting, and it goes back to that focus question of how can we do things differently?
So Jodie's put in a comment, so's Dave and Kay's in the process of.
Great, that's great. So Jodie, so reflective of challenges in other parts of our region and other rural locations. That's really, that's really true, Jodie. And Dave said he raised the challenges regarding volunteer groups at the last Rotary meeting. Oh, it was met with a stony silence. That's interesting. Jodie or Dave, do you want to speak to any of this, or are you happy just for me to read your notes? And Kay has said that they've started the residents group to do it differently. At the August workshop, we were working on drafting foundation principles for the new governance group. And the way that we did this was I summarised all the insights from the webinars that we'd watched in the previous 6 months, and also the Victorian government's framework for place-based approaches. And I put all those into the fabulous AI machine, and it came out with these 20 different guiding governance principles to shape values and approaches. And then we worked on redefining which ones that we want. So I'll just quickly go through, just in case people are watching this webinar and have not, didn't attend the workshop. So local context matters. There's a shared vision and collaborative leadership, deep community engagement, empowerment and self-determination, whole of government coordination, evidence and continuous learning, transparency and reciprocal accountability, sustainability and capacity building, community readiness foundation, which equals clarity, connection, capability, collaboration and advocacy. Hey, Neil. Trust-based partnership development, local voice leadership, asset recognition and valuation, local and shared ownership models, inclusive governance structures, long-term collaboration foundation, place-based focus, community-centred agency, collective leadership across boundaries, and relational adaptive working and power sharing. So I got the group to then work on which ones they wanted. And then we came up with these ones. So I'm just going to read them out to you and expand on them as I read them. So the first one was shared vision and collaboration. So we're going to work together towards a common purpose. We're going to regularly reflect and see who's missing from the table. Number 2 was coordination and efficiency. So we want one representative body to speak for many groups. We want to use an umbrella organisation to support the workers, reduce the burdens and coordinate communication. We want to ensure transparency and accountability and the rotation of responsibilities. We want to build trust through credibility, stewardship and effective communication. excuse me, we want to share power fairly and adapt structures for flexibility. And we want to support community ownership of assets, for example, trust funds or local resources. The third one was inclusivity and diversity. Let's create a space for all the voices, and that's a message that keeps coming through. We want to value the youth, the Indigenous and the diverse perspectives. We want broad membership for legitimacy and democracy. The fourth one was about innovation and adaptability. Let's welcome change and new ideas. Let's stay flexible, agile, and responsive to the needs. Number 5 was collective voice and influence. So let's strengthen local leadership. Let's focus on place-based approaches. Let's deeply engage with the community. Let's build empowerment and readiness for action. The sixth one was volunteer support and alignment. So let's connect volunteers with organisations as part of a community of mutual support. Let's recognise and value contributions with less red tape. Let's create a local skills register for exchange and collaboration. Number 7 was information sharing and communication. So let's proactively share what's happening and when, using local newspapers and newsletters and notice boards and events to spread the word. Let's encourage neighbourly connections, door knocking and street parties, and let's have regular updates through newsletters and letterbox drops. So how are you feeling about all these principles so far? What one resonates with you most strongly? And do you have another you want to add at this stage?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
You can.
Awesome. Going back to the a couple of the points that we raised, the one that resonated me mostly was the lack of confidence in the ability of our volunteers and the limited pool of volunteers, which I guess is pretty well universal amongst all of the people that we've talked about in the past. I tried to raise it at our last meeting. I'm going to try and raise it tonight. Liz Mitchell is actually speaking tonight, which is great. I might have a kindred spirit there. I think that should be quite good. But really, the limited pool of volunteers and the skills register. I think the skills register is vital. I think there's an awful lot of diverse skills in the community that all work in isolation. And it would be really, really good to get all that register of those people together to help. And if they can volunteer into an umbrella type, the best, most positive feedback I've had back in discussions around the community is the enthusiasm for an umbrella organisation. That nobody wants to commit the whole of the resource to one organisation or two organisations. So the umbrella organisation idea gathered the most momentum.
Great. That's a great feedback, Dave, because the umbrella organisation doesn't have to be one organisation. It can be several different people from different organisations just in a group together. It doesn't have to be registered, doesn't have to be a not-for-profit. It can just be a group, which is exciting.
The biggest challenge coming back from that was who pays the insurances for said group? Because you have to have insurance, and there has to be a fee, and there has to be money raised. No. So that's just more of a detail to be worked through, I guess.
Yes. Yeah. And that's a good point, and we can work through that at the next workshop. We'll raise that.
Yep.
Kay, did you want to say something?
The flexibility of the umbrella organisation or any organisation is something that's important to me, as is the skills register. So that's how our residents group want to work, not that there's a group of people doing the work, as suggested by others, that if you have a passion project You bring it to the group and it's yours to run with, and we say, how can we help you? And that might be with resources of, you know, whatever resources are required, whether that's furnishings or barbecues, as Dave's got the rotary carrot trailer for that, but or expertise, so that everybody's free to have a go, rather than being handed over to the small group and people whinging if something's not done. Last week, Tabitha and Hayley got in touch because they had something they wanted to apply for funding for, and had approached a couple of other groups to be an auspicing body, and then contacted me, and I said, well, we don't need to be an auspicing body. We'll give you the login details to our email. We'll have a quick chat about your project, see if we can refine your application so that it's clear and concise, and then you apply for it. And we've already got the infrastructure in place, in that we're an incorporated group. We've got a bank account and signatories to the bank account. So if someone wants to log in through our group and go for it, then they can. That's already in place. And we're not going to take it over and take on more work, but it means that people can have a go at smaller projects maybe, and then develop confidence and skills, and then, you know, grow into bigger passion projects without it getting lost or taken over by other people who might take it off in a different direction.
So coming back to Dave's question then, so your group would then cover the insurances required for those projects?
Well, depends on the project. So yeah. I got a price for 20 million insurance public liability for our group for the year. It's going to be $310 for the year.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's not a big deal, but
yeah.
But the trail building that we're doing, we put everything through the contractor, so that he holds his own insurance. He holds the qualifications and green cards and blue cards and whatever he needs to do the job. We just got the funding and we'll support him and oversee the project. So there's going to be ways around and through a lot of that.
Yeah, great. Jody, you wanted to say something?
Yes, thank you, Natasha. Hello, everybody. I wasn't able to make it to the previous workshops, but I've certainly been watching the webinars and following along via YouTube. So it's great to see how this is all coming together. I just wanted to just briefly mention that we worked with the Orbost Arts Centre on a volunteer review program, or a review of the volunteer program. So that was actually, and it fits into the draft principles here really nicely, and what Kay just mentioned, and also Dave. So there could be some good resources and approach, and if they're open to sharing that experience, and maybe look at that as a way to be able to get some things in place to support volunteers appropriately. So obviously, yes, the skills register is amazing, but there's also going to be, you know, different privacy issues about, you know, sharing people's details and things like that, and emergency contacts, and things that just enable people to do the role safely and appropriately. And I think as well that mentioning about auspicing, we did some work in Halls Gap recently through some bushfire recovery work, and they have a group called the Halls Gap Community Association that's like an umbrella group, and they have about 30 smaller projects and activities underneath that. What we noticed when talking with them, it's a great model, but there are a few gaps, and even having some tightening, or not tightening necessarily, but some clarity about, you know, who's actually running the project, and And those sort of things obviously could be worked out, and there can be some very time and cost efficient ways to do that, so that people aren't bogged down with red tape, but that, you know, that people are actually clear who's doing what, especially when it comes to spending of funds and then acquitting the grants as well. So it's great to see this coming together.
Yeah.
Thanks, Jodie. I also think that we might be jumping a bit, presuming that the umbrella organisation will be an auspicer, or it doesn't have to be. It just has to have, it can, and we will decide that at the workshop. It can have just only small roles. One could be the communications role, one could be a volunteer register role, and that might, and a shared decision making. It doesn't have to be everything. It doesn't have to be, so Kay's group and other groups can still go ahead, and they can be underneath, they'll be backbone organisations underneath an umbrella joint, you know, organisation that represents the whole of the community, not just each community group. Jodie, did you want to say something else?
Yes, that's exactly what I was thinking, is that, you know, any umbrella group doesn't need to be the be all and end all, but that whoever else is involved in the community with various groups and activities, there does need to be some accountability and clarity, so that, you know, people who know who's doing what and how they can get involved and contribute. Otherwise, it could be a bit of a hot mess.
Yes.
Agreed. Yeah.
Okay, let's continue. So the next part, so what's been happening since workshop 1? So we have, we formed a working group at the workshop, which hasn't really been activated yet, but it will be after workshop 2. We've set up a communication stream. That's the WhatsApp group that Kath McDonald has set up. So are all of you part of that WhatsApp group?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, Jodie, if you wanted to be, let us know and we'll get you connected. The workshop outcomes report was shared. A short film was completed, and there has been ongoing community conversations, as you've been sharing with me now, which is really great. We've also recruited a skilled business professional, an ABV, Australian Business volunteer, and he'll be working beside me for the next 3 months. So you'll see him at the workshop, and he's kind of like he's from Tasmania, and he's like a governance advisor. He's going to be working, so we can ask tricky questions to him, some questions that I won't be able to answer because I'm not a governance expert. He's had a lot of experience in governance and community, and so he'll hopefully will be able to answer some tricky questions that might come up on the day in October. And he will also be around until November, so he can be walking beside us and helping us resolve any issues that come up. So I did mention that there was so what have you, that's what the next bit is, what have you done? And the name of our volunteer, Robin, is Bruce Levitt, Levett. And he has been through Orbost, but he's only cycled through Orbost. So he's, you may have even known him, Liz, when he cycled through Orbost. So have you done anything else that you'd like to share with the group since the last workshop?
We're about to commence our trail building down to the river for community access. We start that Monday week.
Congratulations.
Yes, looking forward to it. And Mugji have had a look for regen, and we're looking at Indigenous medicinal and native to the area plants. So that's a landscaping opportunity as well.
When's
Fantastic.
that, Kay?
We start Monday week. That's down at the bridge pylons, down under to the Snowy River swimming hole. because there's actually no access to the river in Orbost. And Tim at the coffee shop last summer asked the tourists what they wanted, and that was the main thing, was access, but we'd already identified it as something that's needed for locals as well. So Gippsland Foundation have funded it. We've got a local contractor involved. He's really excited about it, and we start Monday week.
What time are you going to be?
What time? I don't know.
We'll catch up on that one.
Well, I can keep you in touch if you want to come down and have a look.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Please.
so it'll take probably minimum 2 weeks, probably 3 with the regen and plantings and things as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anybody else got anything to share at this stage? Okay. So I did mention that we had done the short film. So who has seen that? Who has had a chance to look at it?
Yep, me.
No.
Good on you, Dave. Okay, I'm going to share it now, and we'll see if it actually works. So I want to share it here. Can you hear the audio? No?
No.
Okay. Share. That's right. Okay, I'll share sound. That'll be better. How about now?
Yep.
Yes.
We've been working on a place-based leadership and governance workshop series for the Orbost community over the last 6 months.
This governance workshop today is to explore a wider representation, a collective representation of community voices.
We are a community that's been through quite a few tribulations of late. We had disastrous fires, the closure of our local timber industry, which has affected the town greatly.
We're at a transition point where the Future of Orbost project, which did a really great job to create a strategy and a vision for our area, that's actually finishing. And I think the main reason why we really need to go forward with this is because we've actually got a lot of momentum.
The core question that we've been looking at is what kind of place-based decision-making, what kind of leadership, what kind of governance structures are really important to support a community like Orbost District into the future.
This work is really important so that we can actually set our own path forward.
To have an active say in its own future, not simply be the passive recipient.
How is the younger generation going to eventually take over the older generation in such a way that allows it to thrive?
Part of the challenge today is to explore what the underlying issues are and how they could be addressed.
One of the challenges is to bring everybody together so that there is a much stronger, unified voice.
It just will take us a long way because we have really limited resources.
Sometimes when we invite people to the table, we invite them to the table that we've set out and that we think, the table that might work for us, but maybe that's not actually the right dinner time for them.
We need to be more open about the involvement of the community and take the community with us on the journey.
The workshops so far have been incredibly inspiring. A bunch of the speakers from right across Australia have brought really great examples of different ways that they've built resilience and leadership and tackled a range of different challenges. And I think that's offered us hope and a bunch of different ideas.
I'd like the future leadership of Orbost to be really broadly inclusive of a wider range of organisations and voices in our community.
The work that we need to do is actually look at who's not being part of making those decisions and how can we make this more attractive for them to actually come and be part of these.
I'm excited by the fact that it still could be a growing town. It still has opportunities. Those opportunities need to be exploited better. And I think that's an exciting part of the journey.
Beautiful. Look at you, all big stars, aren't you? Okay, just David, you've got your hand up still. So
No,
yeah,
sorry.
identified is that you need more of a holistic work to bring it together. Because quite often people.
Sorry about that. That wasn't very sexy at all.
Technology, Nat.
Technology. Okay. Now where have you all gone? So part of what we keep hearing in this webinar and in the workshop was that we need more people involved. So why does this matter? Because participation means decisions reflect the whole community, not just a few. And at our workshop, we said that success looks like diverse voices are included, there are agreed governance principles, there are clear next steps, and strong community leadership. So at the October workshop, it's going to be it's going to be fun. It's going to be very interactive. So we're going to, first of all, be defining definitely those governance principles. Then we're going to be doing some physical construction of a prototype of what the governance group, or if we want to call it umbrella group, if that's what the structure is that we want, and what it actually looks like, who's talking to who, how are decisions made. And then we're going to talk about how we run it as a pilot and how long we run it as a pilot for. So it's not easy. It's going to be a bit challenging, but because we have such a great group. I mean, if you look at that photo, we've got really clever, wise, experienced people in the room who've been in the Orbost community for quite a long time. I have a lot of confidence where this is going to go. So the next thing is, all right, how can you help? How are you widening the circle? Who needs to still be here? And Kay, you asked a great question. Can you share it on the Orbost Chatterbox, that video? Absolutely. So we've made that full video 3 minutes, but we've also made a couple of reels that are only 1 minute or 30 seconds long that can be shared. So that link, I can share that link in the chat if you want to post it. But otherwise, the governance group, like Nicola and Tabitha and Hayley, are meant to be sharing those on Orbost Chatterbox. So if you don't see them there, let us know and we'll be sharing them more leading up to the workshop in October. But who else needs to be here, and how can you get them here? How can you get them at the table?
Kicking and screaming, I think, is the answer to
that. Was that big sigh from you, Dave?
A little bit.
It's a tricky one because we've covered newspaper, we're on social media. It's really about people tapping on people's shoulders. So Dave, you've got your hand up. Did you want to say something?
No, sorry, that was a fat finger job of mine. Sorry.
Okay.
I'm trying to get the camera to work.
I'm trying to get me mouse to work.
Okay, Kay, what would you like to share?
It'd be good to get the youth on board. Can we go to the Orbost Community College and speak to the principal maybe about having a special imagination event, even if it's an hour or something that involves many of the classrooms or something?
Nice idea, Kay. Talking with the social science or English teachers there.
Yeah, Imagineering. Yeah.
Do any of you have children? Has this been done in Orbost recently that you know of?
Not that I'm aware of.
Sorry. Yeah. I know the school did a session the other day, which was the Rotary got involved with, just basically on a catering basis, but that was for a man cave type. They called it the man cave, and that was basically to get boys together to talk about misogyny and violence and things like that, and to a general discussion. I wasn't there, unfortunately. I had to go into Bairnsdale for an appointment, but the feedback that I got from that was that it was very good. And they're actually going to have one for the girls as well later on. So one group tried to crash the other group. So I think it was the free sausages that brought them all in. But that didn't seem like a bad idea to me. That it was what Kay just said was basically an extension of that, and the girls. Is I think it was voluntary. The boys could come voluntarily if they wanted to, and there's probably nearly 100 of them turned up. So it was a good result that way. If you take out 20% for the sausages, there's 80% who are there to actually learn something. So I think there's merit in that idea of talking to the school.
Does anybody have any contacts at the school that we could start this conversation with?
Yeah. I think we've all got Peter Seal's details.
He's very approachable.
He is.
Is he?
He is, Roach. Yeah.
Oh, fantastic. He really is.
Yeah.
And is Peter Seal the principal or the deputy principal?
Principal.
Yeah.
Principal. Is this workshop something that he might be interested in coming to and contributing to?
I would say that given his time pressures, he would be in it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe when we send out the invitation, the official invitation next week, Dave or Neil, you could send it, forward it on straight to. Did you say Peter? His name was, or David? Peter. And maybe just say we'd really enjoy. We think it's important to have young people at this workshop. Is there a way that we can make that happen? Or would you like to attend? Or let's start the conversation. That's really exciting. I think it's a really important way of getting them included.
Yeah.
So, as part of the working group, Dave, we can be working on that together.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. There are a couple of governance issues that you have to be careful of with schools and things that, that anybody who's in contact with the kids must have a working with children check, obviously, and things like that. But apart from that, it's they're pretty open to talking to us.
Yes.
Yeah.
Great. Robin.
Yeah, it's just, I put it in the chat, it's such a great educational opportunity for the young people, showing, about community governance, not just the sort of formal local governance, state, federal, it's about communities. I think great idea. And I think showing that video, it's really inspiring. And as Kay said, reading her comment, it gives them an opportunity to give some of their ideas about how their community that they'll be becoming, leaders of in the future, how they see it possibly, governed and whatnot. It's a great idea. Love it. Oh, Kay's going to provide free gelati.
Oh, can I
time it for a hot day?
Yes.
I wonder if there could be another session just for the young so we can glean their ideas. Maybe it's worth thinking about 1 or 2 sessions. So let's continue that conversation. And I'll bring you in on those ideas, Dave. I think it's really valid and exciting.
Yeah, good. I think it is because they're catch them young. They're the ones who are going to be leaving school in the next couple of years, and they've probably got no idea actually what happens in their community. They're young. Look, I mean, they're going to be focused around their footy team or their cricket team or whatever they do, and that's great. But they don't really have much of an idea of what's actually happening around them and why. It was interesting. A year or two ago, we did a barbecue up at Muji, and we were really short of volunteers. There was like 3 of us at the time, and we did the barbecue up there. So we asked Muji if they could get some of the younger kids to help us with it. We had like 120 kids, wow. Running around all over the place, putting tables up and moving barbecues around and getting firewood, and it was awesome,
Wow, great! So you're already getting the volunteers early. Great.
Well, yeah, I think that was the elders who really sort of pressurised them into that one, though.
Dave, I'm really keen to explore this more. So let's talk about this offline, and we can work out our approach to the school and take it from there. That's great. Really exciting. What about when you were with Muji the other day? Did you speak to them about what's going on here, and if they wanted to or had the capacity? I know that they're very busy, and that was one of the reasons why they weren't attending the workshop.
I personally didn't speak to them. I said the event that we went to was about 18 months ago. So, but I haven't spoken to them except with Landcare, because I'm in Jarman Landcare. So we touch base with them there because we get plants from them. So we got they've donated, Landcare's bought through Muji an awful lot of young indigenous plants to this area that were salvaged from the fires, the seeds, and grown them.
Oh, that's right.
So we started a wildlife corridor, my property and other people's property, and Tabitha's got a lot on hers and places like that in Bromwich. So we've done a fair bit with them. And when we were speaking to them, they said, you can plant them yourselves, or you can, pay us a little bit of money, and we'll come down and do it for you. So I think there's an involvement there that you could get a project going, where we're actually doing something which is visible, which is the plantings, and going back to what Kay was saying about the access to the snowy. There's a great deal of planting got to happen down there, I guess, Kay, to make it inviting.
Yeah, just in the trail area with the assistance of catchment management. But because we're building the trail, catchment management are now going to do more weed eradication and more plantings themselves along that whole area. Yeah. And it means that we've had to talk with the council outdoor maintenance people also. So now they're going to put up bollards to keep the 4-wheel drives out, and assist with tidying up the area, which also means that we can then look at extending the trail, because now everybody's been made aware of that area and their responsibilities around it. So it'll improve the whole thing.
Yep.
Great. Neil, going to your comment about we don't want to, let me just read it word for word. We don't want to get the wrong, we also have to be careful we don't get the wrong people on the governance team. So, yeah, a good question. Who do you think the wrong people would be, Dave? Neil?
Wrong people, Dave.
Look, there are people in the community and everybody knows who they are. I'm not going to name names on this forum, but if you get them involved, they have a destructive effect, and other good people will not go along if they're involved. So, and like I said, I'm not prepared to name names. If it really come to the crunch, I'll do it. Like I'm a bit of a devil, but yeah, there are people out there, and I've come across them, and you say to other people about different places, oh, no, if they're involved, I'm not prepared to go there. And it's a shame. It really is a shame that
It
they're
is.
there. They are there. And they seem to be a little bit like pepper and salt too. They're in everything.
Okay.
Did you
Like
see
they say,
Kay's comment,
okay,
Neil?
You know,
Did you see-
we've got
did you see
a, sorry?
Did you see Kay's comment?
No.
Rule 1, no beepheads.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. But
We probably know who they are, Neil, which is why our...
we do, because if they some
we
of them
do.
try to get involved, I'll certainly fight it.
No, we do, and
not going to
that's
destroy this one.
Yeah, our residents group have purposely kept a really low profile and not had meetings to let them drop off.
Yeah.
So now we've just got a bunch of nice, easygoing, happy, active people that. So
it's what we've got to do.
Yeah, and that whole inclusivity. Because I had.
We're going to have black and white marbles, are we, Robin?
I had the inclusivity issue come up when I was running the community garden because some people with mental health issues took over the place and started using it as their own lounge room.
Yeah.
So I shut that down really quickly, but my managers further up the line said, "Oh, you need to be inclusive and everyone has to feel comfortable there, but at what cost to everybody else using the place?" So
that's exactly what I'm getting at.
So I think we need discernment in that inclusivity so that people don't get bullied or terrorised or abused by people with psychiatric problems or lack of filters or whatever else goes on. So the inclusivity is limited in my view.
My wife tells me my filter isn't blocked or broken, it's just non-existent.
Yeah, but you're nice.
But yeah, we've got to be careful of it. We really do. And they're, sadly enough, they are looking at what we're doing too.
Yes. Okay. Jodie, what would you like to say? Bearing in mind we've got 2 minutes.
Yes, some very good things in the chat that Robin's popped there about a code of conduct. That would have to be a mandatory requirement, but also some sort of transparent selection process and some criteria of the skills, experience and wisdom and attributes and characteristics and ethos and the culture and the way of working. So they are all things that are achievable and that has to be a transparent process.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it.
Yes. It's a really great ideas, great discussion. Lots to bring up at the workshop.
I thought it was something that has to be brought up. We can't dance around it. We have to acknowledge that it's there. So
That's right, Neil.
But,
okay, moving on because we have to finish. So I'm going to, as with all the webinars, we've got a reflection survey for you to fill out. I will send that link in the follow-up email. So the next steps are to get you onto that WhatsApp group. Not that there's not much movement happening in that WhatsApp group at the moment, Jodie. The follow-up email will probably come out tomorrow once this video has been uploaded to YouTube, as well as the registration for the workshop. Then next week I'll send a proper email out that you can then forward on to other people to invite them to the workshop with the link to the YouTube in it. And so are there any questions before we finish up? Any questions about the upcoming workshop or what to do in the meantime?
No, just to follow up what we discussed earlier about the schools, and we'll get that underway.
Yeah, that would be good.
Yeah.
That idea is thrown around a bit, and I think it would be good.
Would you like some help with that, Dave?
Yes, please.
Okay. Well, I'll put my hand up for that.
All right. Thank you.
Hey, haven't you been taught you sit on your hands?
Not this little black duck.
Oh, no, that's definitely for sure. Yeah.
Well, it's been a pleasure. I won't take any more of your time. Thank you so much for attending this webinar, chatting with me. We've got a few steps forward in this webinar, who are we going to include and how we're going to get them included. So that's really great. Stay tuned. I'll be sending emails. Keep me in the loop with that school liaison. I might be able to support as well. And until next time, thank you very much. See you later.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.